Oh man, we are live. We are live, guys. What is going on? So sorry to keep you all waiting. It's funny because I've never done a live show this early, and I had a really important personal phone call that I had to take. So again, I apologize for the delay, but we are here, folks. Misfit Martinez says, can't wait for this comic book jackpot. Is already going off about CGC. We got Tony Trombetta in the house. Tony! Guys, if you aren't familiar with EGS Comics, President Tony, awesome guy doing awesome things with his company. Their link is below. Hey, comic book jackpot. If you want an alternative to CGC, check out the link to EGS below, please. All right, Isaac's hanging out. What's going on? Good old friend of the channel, Isaac. Guys, this is going to be something because I got the popcorn. I got the popcorn today, folks. So, I hope you guys got the popcorn too. We're going in. Paul is here. What's going on, Paul? Brandon. This is what we're also going to do, folks. Before we get into the juicy nugget of a topic, I got to do something else just to, get us in the mood for comic books. I'm going to open this package. This is my first ever purchase off of the Whatnot app. Ishmael, what's going on? Discovery Bay. Mustache. So, that popcorn. So happy to see so many people and familiar faces, especially at this time of the day. I didn't know how many people might show up. Guys, why I'm talking and why more people are coming in, I'm just going to open this up. My first ever purchase off of the Whatnot app. And why I'm doing this, before we get into our CGC discussion, I want to remind you all, folks, if you're not following me on the Whatnot app, please do so. I would really appreciate it. If you're not signed up for the app, you can use the link below. If you sign up using that link, you get 10% off of your first purchase on the app. And that's not from me. It could be from anybody on the Whatnot app. But you can go ahead and sign up there. Follow me at Journos Comics with no underscore like I'm at everywhere else. Just Journos Comics. Give me a follow, folks. My next big show is this Friday in just 4 days from now or 3 days from now. And big announcement, folks. These just came in the mail from this month's Comic Tom MMC. And I am going to be auctioning these off Friday night live on the Whatnot app. The Army of Darkness 1979 number 3, TMNT number 1 cover swipe homage, and the exclusive Buffy the Vampire number 1 Virgin variant. I will be having a good amount of giveaways as well. And of course, anybody that makes the purchase. Oh, also, guys, I'm also going to be giving away a Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 1. For those that know me, you know that have I gone insane? Have I absolutely lost my mind? I own like 25 of these and I'm giving one away. My precious. Yes, I will be. All you need to do to win this, you don't need to buy anything. You just need to be following me on the Whatnot app, and you need to be present when I run the giveaway Friday night. And that's all. You don't even need to buy anything, folks. It's a mid-grade copy. It has a little bit of a rip, a little small rip at the top there, but it's still a very nice looking book. It can still benefit a little bit from a press. But still, I mean, look, it's funny because I've talked about this book for so long, and it's been getting hot, folks, and we know Warlock's coming now. So I said, you know what? I'm going to part with one. I can do it. But also, if you do, anybody that does make a purchase will be entered in to win this beautiful, spectacular Spider-Man 9.6 white pages CGC. This is the first Frank Miller art on Daredevil. For each purchase, for each auction that you win, or buy it now purchase that you make, that's one raffle ticket in to possibly win this amazing book, okay? That's for this Friday's Whatnot show live at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. Okay, so again, I'm opening up this package. Before we get into the CGC topic of discussion, Emery's, Nukes, what's going on? Joel, what is going on? This was my first. No! Oh, I forgot I purchased this. Wow. This was a purchase off of Mercari, and I forgot. I did, so I won a couple auctions on Whatnot. And crazy enough, I'll give them a shout out when I get the book. I think it's Vanessa's Comics or something like that. I won a giveaway last night in a live sale. I was trying to bid up a few books. I didn't win any, in terms of purchase, but I entered the giveaway for those that were just hanging out, and I won a Bronze Age Frank Miller Daredevil book. So that's like what I'm doing with this. You guys just have to be hanging out. You don't even need to buy anything. Just follow me and hang out. All right, guys, but this is really cool. A little bit of a key book here. It's in decent grade, a mid-grade, maybe about a fine, if just from looking at it in this nasty old poly bag or polyethylene bag. But folks, this is Batman and Robin, it's Batman with Robin. Number 240, right? Is it 240? 240. Batman number 240. This is the third appearance of Ra's al Ghul. So I am big on this character. I already own his second appearance. So if you are priced out of his first appearance, very nice looking book. I forgot I ordered this. I forgot. All right, guys. Awesome. Awesome. Remy's in the house. It has been a while. Lee, he's here for his first live. Awesome, Lee. Good to see you here. Comic Noob. I got the popcorn, guys. Comic Noob. It's Jason. Ari Leo is in the house. Ghost Junk. Fat Dad. Hey, guys. Fat Dad Comics. Follow Fat Dad Comics on the Whatnot app as well. He's got a live show right before mine this coming Friday. Check him out. The Beach Comer. What is up? All right, guys. I'm not just going to sit here and eat popcorn in front of you, I promise. So we'll put the popcorn aside and let's get into this topic of discussion. Okay. What we're going to do. What we're going to do, guys. We're going to bring up, excuse me. Remember, guys, I am still recovering from COVID. I got my inhaler. If I cough a little bit or have to put my inhaler, bear with me. If I pass out, call, an ambulance. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be fine. But just bear with me if I'm a little wheezy. We're going to bring up my video that I released yesterday talking about CGC. If you guys haven't watched it, when we're done here, I do recommend going and watching it. Leave your thoughts in the comments as well. What we're going to do today, we're going to go through the comments because here's the thing. This topic of discussion needs to be fleshed out even more so than it has been. And for those that don't know, the discussion was, is CGC raising prices to slow or dwarf demand? I did a video discussing the new price increases on CGC. And I've also seen this way of thinking in some Facebook forums. A lot of people are saying that CGC is raising prices to slow and dwarf demand. And again, I'm here to tell you that is absolutely false. All right. So my thesis statement is this: CGC is not raising prices to slow demand. And now I'm going to provide you facts and data, and I'm going to argue my point. You guys are the jury, and I'm the judge. Or excuse me, I'm the lawyer persuading my case here today. All right. Yeah, popcorn don't help with the choking. That's true. I was like, I even got a kernel in my mouth right now. But man, I mean, come on, man. I had to bring the popcorn out. We're gonna share screen, the screen, folks. Here, let's see. It says CGC. Okay. View video file. We're gonna share screen. This is gonna be fun. And I love you all. BBB, what's going on? P Keel. Hope you're doing well, P Keel. Hey, yeah. Hey, P Keel brings, yeah, inflation right now. The cost of plastic. Those are some variables for price increases as well, guys. Edge tab. We are looking at CGC does not want your comic books. We're gonna share. All right, folks, here we go. Okay, so when I'm reading the comments, guys, actually, you know what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna keep up with the chat today. I need to keep up with you guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the live show on my phone. What I'm gonna do is, let me turn the volume down, because I want to be able to monitor the chat. Okay, because when I see these comments, not monitoring the chat on my computer. Getting better. That's good, PQ. I'm so glad to hear that. Jeremy, what's going on? Okay, Jeremy, let's start this debate with your question. Hey, and I'm going to tell you guys, look, you guys know me. If you don't know me and you don't watch my channel, first and foremost, please take the time to subscribe. I produce content almost every single day of the week. I'd appreciate your follow. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. I'm going to be doing a huge giveaway. So if you're joining just for the first time, please do so. But you got to know me. If you don't know me, I'm very passionate. I'm very animated and passionate, and I get into the things I'm talking about. I am a businessman. I am business educated. I hold 2 business degrees. Just to give you guys a little background on me, I don't know everything, but I'm just stating. I've studied law, and I've also studied debate and argumentation. So I love to debate. I don't see arguing as a negative thing. I see it as a positive thing, as long as it's respectful, right, and productive. I believe in being able to see different points of views, because if you are trying to have an argument and win an argument, you're not going to win if you can't see the other person's point of view. That's a fact. So Jeremy, though, so again, guys, I know I get passionate, and if I disagree with you, I'm not going to hold back. I will disagree, and I will express why, and we can have a good debate about it. But just know it's all with respect. I appreciate all you guys, and at the end of the day, we do the proverbial handshake, and it's all love and all good, right? But Jeremy says no one is prevented. I think he meant to say maybe provided. No one has provided proof that they are raising prices to slow demand. It's all just guesses and assumptions. Okay, Jeremy. Let me pull this. Jeremy, yeah, essentially you're right, Jeremy. Like, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. Nobody is sitting at the execs table knowing why they're making decisions. So essentially, Jeremy is right. So so Jeremy, thank you for that comment. It is, we are asserting our opinion on it. And like I said, if anybody has ever done critical thinking or has taken any type of law class or debate classes where they had to argue points, you would know how to construct an argument. It's all based on theses, a thesis statement, and hypotheses, right? That's all it is. And you have to prove your argument and prove your case. But I'm going to sit here today and give you guys more than enough information, data, facts to prove to you that this is the last thing from CGC's consciousness. Okay? Now, Pedro, what's going on, Pedro? Basically, I want to let everyone know this. In general, a business is not in business to short supply. What's going on, Sherry? Thanks for hanging out. No business is in business to short supply. A business, no matter, look, it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, progressive or not. Like, I know a lot of people are like anti-corporation, anti-big business. You know, there are businesses out there that do very bad, unethical things. There are businesses that are more progressive. They're you know, they have a lot of green initiative and you know, sustainable practices and such. This isn't about ethics at all, because no matter the ethics or the culture of the business, every business, including a business that is all about green, going green and sustainability, you know what their number one reason for being in business is? Outside of nonprofits. Nonprofits are an exception. They're nonprofit organizations for a reason. Any business, any privately or publicly traded business, the number one reason they are in business is for what reason? I want to let you guys answer that. What is the number one reason that any business is in business? I don't care if they're Starbucks, CGC, the grocery store, the mom and pop spot, a veterinary clinic, a hospital. Well, hospitals are a little different. There's government funding there. Let's not. A private dentist practice. What is the reason they're in business? Emrys. Boom. Dollar signs. Money. Peak heel. Profit. Yes. And Emrys says, he said money. Not just money, but what kind of money? Profit. What does profit mean? It means making money for profit. Every single business cares about one thing before anything. I don't care if Gandhi or Martin Luther King or some hippies that like are bottling local honey are in business. I don't care if it's them that are running a business. Their number one reason to be in business is to make profits. Period. Double S, what's going on? Period. It doesn't matter if you're a hippie. It doesn't matter if you hate corporations. It doesn't matter if you're a small business or a big multinational corporation. You need to make a profit. If you don't make a profit, your business is not sustainable and your business falls from the foundation and you cease to exist. Please know this for a fact. Why am I saying this? Because I'm here to prove today that CGC is not raising prices to slow demand. Now, imagine I was a local, let's say I was a local beverage bottler. Let's say I created my own, like, I don't know, honey tea or something, you know, and I'm very small. I have a little, actually, maybe I don't even have my own factory, but I rent a factory that bottles, you know, I grow my own tea. I do the whole fermentation process and brewing process. And then I am partnered with somebody that bottles it up, whatever. I have a small distribution deal that distributes my beverage to regional grocery stores like where I'm at, maybe the local Whole Foods or the nugget markets, things of that nature, right? And say, you know, and I do, and let me tell you guys, before a product hits the market, any business, any smart business is going to have market analysis done on price point, okay? And they're going to want to set a price point based on algorithms and regression analysis data. For anybody that took stats, you might know what I'm talking about. If you haven't taken a stats class in college or anything like that, you might be like, what the hell are you even talking about? What does that mean? Without going too deep into it, there are software programs out there right now that you can feed data that basically produce outputs and create algorithms that gives you data to look at and analyze to tell you when things correlate, or, in terms of price point, what price point sits at market equilibrium. And we're going to get into market equilibrium a little more in a minute here. So what I'm trying to say is, me as a small beverage bottler, I'm going to put my product on the market at a certain price point from all the data that we put together. It goes to market. It's a hit. It's a hit. I can't keep up with demand. It keeps selling out. And I'm working in my factory. I'm making a little money. I hired 2 new people, or maybe I even got a contract with another bottler so I can bottle more, double my amount that I'm bottling up and supplying my supply to the stores in the same amount of time. But still, the demand is so high, I can't keep up. What am I going to do? What does that tell me? It tells me, first off, that demand is exceeding supply. So for all those that watch my channel and that collect comics with some type of investment mind, what does it mean when demand exceeds supply? Peter, what's going on? DJ Moonchild, Los. I'm waiting for the answer to my question. Jeremy, you left a great comment. I'm not really there yet, but we're going to get to that. Fat Dad says price increase. Yes, it means that my price is way too low. Way too low. It means that I can make more money by raising my prices. When demand exceeds supply, price goes up. So when a comic book is on the market and it hits big, and that demand, speculation going, whatever, character shows up in a series, demand goes boom, supply dwindles, and then what starts happening? The cost starts going up because people are saying, I want it more than you. I'm going to fight you to get it, and if I got to dish more money out of my pocket, I'm going to do that. So for my beverage, I'm going to increase my cost or my price. Now, that essentially could slow demand. It could. But guess what? I, as a small business owner, I have to find a market equilibrium that best fits me, that best fits my resources. I'm going to find a price that can maximize my profit margins. What does that mean? Okay. If I was a bottle manufacturer, we're going to pull this out for a minute, guys, because I'm not there yet. If I could produce, excuse me, if I could produce 100 bottles of water in 1 hour, okay? If I could produce 100 bottles of water in 1 hour, and if you take into consideration my variable cost and fixed costs, what are variable costs? Variable costs are like costs that aren't always the same. So labor could be a variable cost. Fixed costs are, all the overhead that like rent, electricity, insurance, all these things that are usually, basically the same month to month, but all of it is overhead. All of it is cost. So if I produce 100 bottles of water in 1 hour, and in that 1 hour, I'm using X amount of dollars of labor, and I have to consider all my fixed costs. Well, how much energy does it take me to run my facility? for an hour? How much is rent? How much is a month's rent divided by weeks, divided by days, divided by hours? And all of that has to be divided up to see what is my cost to make one bottle of water. So hypothetically, if I consider how much it takes for me, or how much it costs for me to make water in a 1 hour's time, let's say it cost me 50 cents per bottle. Okay. What if I added one more employee on the floor and it raised my costs by 2%? But I knew that adding that one more employee on the floor could increase my output double. So what does that mean? I'm going to have to, my cost per hour goes up a little bit, right? But my output doubles. Does the cost of each bottle of water, does my cost to produce each bottle of water go up or go down? So if I used to make 100 per hour and it was costing me 50 cents a bottle, so that would be $50 an hour. I'm spending $50 an hour to make 100 bottles of water. Let's say I can spend $5 more in 1 hour and double my output. What does that mean? And I'm not asking about price for the consumer. What does it mean for my costs? If I spend $5 more on top of the $50 it was costing me to make 100, if I'm now spending only $5 more and I can make 200 in the same amount of time, what does it mean for my costs? Planet AZ, what's going on? Cost goes down. Yes. So basically, I had to increase my revenue to go to resources. I had to allocate more money for more labor, but I can make more now in less time, which means it cost me less to make one bottle of water. You see what I'm saying? So this is basically part of the back end that you need to understand before we even figure what we're going to charge consumers, right? All right. So if I was this beverage producer, the small beverage producer, and I didn't have the resources to do what I just said, and I'm getting bottlenecked because of demand, I might not need to focus on lowering my cost as long as I could keep the value of my or the price point of my beverage high enough. Even if it decreases demand a little bit, my price per beverage is still going to be at market equilibrium considering my resources. I use this as an example because setting a price point to that might slow demand a little bit isn't always a bad thing. Let me repeat that. Raising a price to a price point that may slow demand a little bit isn't always a bad thing. But usually that only comes into play for smaller businesses or businesses that have very, very finite resources. Okay? Now, I hope you guys understand the perspective of what I just said there. Now let's talk about CGC. Marvel Dakota, what's going on? Let's talk about CGC. CGC is merely a subdivision of CCG, which is already a huge company. Huge company. I haven't ever looked at their P&L report or I don't know how much revenue stream they bring in annually. I have no idea. But I can assure you it's in the multi-millions. Now, Blackstone, who bought them out, has about what is it? 600 billion net worth. Okay, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. CGC is already a very large entity with a lot of resources. Comic books boom in the last couple of years. Keep in mind, CGC hadn't raised prices for a long time. So you can argue the fact that demand was already exceeding their current price point. But that's another story. Comics boom over the last couple of years. With this, the grading industry boomed. More and more people started sending their books to CGC. At the same time, folks, CGC started expanding their own ventures. What do I mean by that? They started evolving their service and their product. And they went head on with their CGC Signature Series. It became a huge bread and butter moneymaker for them. Okay. CGC provides a service and a product. Service and product. Bill, what's going on, Bill? The service part of what they supply or what they provide to their consumers and their customers started shifting because of the increase in demand. The main thing, wait time. Now, or, turnaround time. Now, we can talk about quality control and how that's affected, but that's neither here or there when we're talking about why they're increasing prices, okay? So let's just focus on turnaround time. Because what does turnaround time conceivably relate to? It relates to how much resources, how their resources are being allocated, and if their resources are suffering compared to the demand. Are their resources becoming overwhelmed and not being able to hold the demand? Let's focus on that. I'll answer in one way, and I'll say this. Quite honestly, for those that argue CGC can't keep up with demand, let's put the price point aside for a moment. CGC can't keep up with demand, so that's why they're raising prices. Some people have said. Let's put that. Quite honestly, CGC is keeping up with demand. Customers are just waiting longer. Has anybody been turned away? Has anybody been turned away? No. CGC is keeping up with demand because people keep sending them their books. Before they had to wait 3 months, then 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Now they're waiting like 12, 13 months. But people are still sending them their books. So CGC is like, oh, well, it may take a little longer, but guess what? We're allocating our resources and we're getting to you. So you can't really argue that. And look, I understand that there's absolutely people that have taken their money because of whatever reasons and tried CBCS or EGS and like, I like these guys instead of CGC. But guess what? That happens all the time, regardless of price point or anything. And it's not enough. It's not enough to counter demand. It's just like how many people don't want to invest in UF4. for as many people that don't want to invest in it, more and more people want to invest in it. So while a few people are like, I'm good, I'm not sending my books to CGC because the turnaround time sucks or their quality control sucks, I'm going to CBCS or EGS. For as many people that are doing that, twice, 3, 4 times as many people are now sending even more books to CGC. So the argument that they can't keep up with demand is null and void. And that's not an opinion. It's a fact based on the science of the data that I just delivered to you. Thanks, Double S. I appreciate it. Now, excuse me. I might have to hit my inhaler in a minute, guys. So, but let's put ourselves in CGC's heads and shoes, though. At some point, you got to think, we can sit there and argue that CGC is keeping up with demand, but if I was CGC, does this growing wait time really benefit us and our customer base? And the answer, they know this. They know this. Now, I do believe CGC is cocky and a bit egotistical, and I think they've been playing with the fine line. I think they're like, yeah, we can keep doing these signature series and let them wait longer because they're going to keep sending our books. I think they've been like that, but I think they know at the same time. And I think they're just milking it as much as they can. But yes, they are keeping up with demand. But look, this turnaround time can't keep getting longer and longer and longer. Something has to give. So does CGC's executives go and sit down at the executives table and say, guys, we have all this demand pouring in. It's absolutely crazy. Our profits are skyrocketing. John, you're getting a bonus. Sue, you're getting a bonus. I'm getting double time bonus than you guys because I'm entitled to it. Tax write-off. This is all happening. And then they say, and then guess what they say? This is what they say at the table. Guys, we have to make some of our customers not want to send us their books. We have to do something that makes some of our customers not want to send us books anymore. We have to do something that makes some of our customers not want to give us money. We have to do something to where we can tell people that we don't want their money. Do you guys, sincerity here, okay? Do you guys really believe that the executives at CGC sat there and said, we need to do something so some of these customers don't send us their books and don't put money in our pockets? I know, let's raise prices. All right, let me just add context though. Remember, you know where we're at right now? We're not at the Blackstone yet. We're like in 2020, 2021 in this hypothetical that I'm delivering to you guys. I guarantee you, no exec sat there and said, we're making more money than ever. How do we make less? This is what they did do. And of course, like Jeremy said, I wasn't there. You guys weren't there. But if you understand business, you understand finance, economics, and all these things, bear with me and open your mind to this. What I bet happened was more likely to happen. The execs got together and said, guys, demand is booming. The comic market in general, there's more money in it than ever right now. More and more people are getting into graded comics. More and more people are sending in comics to get graded. More more customers are buying graded comics, and the price point of graded comics are soaring. We haven't raised our prices, I think at that point, in 6 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5 years, it was a long time. They hadn't increased their price. We haven't. Okay, so I'm the exec, sorry. We haven't increased our price. So what has happened in that time? Minimum wage has gone up. Inflation's gone up. So there's all these other variables. We haven't raised our prices. People are making more money. There's more money in the comic book market, and people are paying more money for the slab books that we're providing. Guys, let's run some algorithms and regression analysis and see where things correlate. Go to it, work. Get your teams, go to it. They do their work, they collect data, they come back. They look at market equilibrium. And remember, market equilibrium in terms of a business means it's not evening out supply and demand. Market equilibrium pertains specifically to profit margin. Remember when I was talking about the water? I said, if I can add 5% of labor and make 50% more product, and I'm not doing that, my price point is not being sold at market equilibrium. Why? Because I can make more money per item. Market equilibrium in terms of sales items means specifically profit margin maximized and realized per item. So it means, are you cutting overhead cost? Are you cutting costs and maximizing revenue? That's what market equilibrium means in this scenario. So they want to find, are we hitting a market equilibrium in terms of our profit margins for our CGC books that we provide the service for? So they come back with their data, they ran their algorithms, regression analysis, and they're looking at how things correlate. And they sit here and say this: we're going to assume, based on rigorous data, that we can raise our books. And what was it? I think it was about, did they raise it $2 originally? What was it back in July of last year when they did the first price increase? I think it went from 18 to 20 for the modern, right? That's with the membership. Something like that. Anyways, they sat there and said, we can raise the price X amount without hurting demand. We can raise it X amount and be confident that demand not only will stay the same, but that demand will continue to increase. They knew this. So they did it. And what happened? Guys? When they made that initial increase, what happened to demand? Did it trump demand? Did it slow demand? No. Demand went up, turnaround times increased, and they were making way more money than ever. Again. So tell me, when they sat down again to raise prices again, not even a year later, what do you think they're thinking? Before I answer that question, let's backtrack. Now let's go back to the first price increase. This is another thing that I've been arguing about why CGC has not increased prices to slow demand. With all this boom and increase in demand, when the executives were sitting at the table, and they may have even been doing this pre-COVID, because the market was already booming pre-COVID. Comic book market and the grading market was booming. I don't know how long these conversations were taking place. But CGC put into motion conversations with Blackstone, a $600 billion entity, a publicly traded entity for that matter. However long these conversations were in motion. But let me ask you this now. And I really want you guys to answer, and I'm going to read your answers. If CGC was looking at the increase in demand, the fact that they needed more resources, because remember, we already admitted that, look, it's not sustainable. They can make customers wait because they're top dogs and they're going to keep coming for right now, but it's not sustainable. So they knew, guys, we need to up our resources. They knew it. But would a company that wants to slow demand sit at the table with a $6 billion corporate entity, having conversations about being bought out by them so they can then allocate resources to CGC? Would a company think about raising prices and slowing demand while having conversations sitting at the table with a $600 billion corporate entity that has so many resources? Architectural, what's going on? Saw Marshall's in the house. Jay Salsa. I'm waiting for some answers, folks. Jeremy says every year there are new building and operation codes added. It gets expensive to upgrade to meet these new codes. Also, more licenses and taxes are added. Very true. Jeremy, you keep adding some great points, and I'm not trying to say that they're irrelevant, but I don't want to focus on them right now because it might confuse people. So, but I'm with you. You're like, there's all these variables, right, that sometimes make businesses raise prices even when they don't want to, right? That's what Jeremy keeps bringing to the table, and he's absolutely right. But let's go back to the scenario and question at hand. What is the question? Let me repeat it one more time. I'm going to get some water. Bear with me, folks. The question was this. We understand that CGC is very confident and cocky, and they're letting their people wait. But we know that CGC realizes that it's not sustainable to keep up these wait times. We know that they know that demand's growing and that they want to get more resources in. We know that. We've established that. We've established that at some point in time, they started sitting at the table with Blackstone, a $600 billion entity. Would a company, CGC, would a company be thinking, let's raise prices to short demand while sitting at a table with a $600 billion corporate entity? I'm just waiting for one person to answer this. 585, what's going on? Nate says, did CGC not get an influx of capital from the buyout? You're speaking to my point that needs to be addressed after somebody answers the question. I just really want to know. I really want to know. Somebody. Don't answer no offense, Nate. I like your question, but let's not answer a question with another question. I'm really looking for a simple yes or no question here. Would a company that's sitting at the table with a $600 billion entity that has so many resources, is CGC doing this while sitting here thinking, man, we need to slow demand because we can't keep up? It's a yes or no question. Thank you, Fat Dad. Thank you. Finally, no. Absolutely not. This is what, let me tell you what CGC is thinking. When CGC sat down and said, guys, we know we need more resources. We know we need more resources. In order to get more resources, we need more revenue. But the demand is so high right now that we can't just take our profit margins and put it to more resources. Maybe they could, folks, but what is the business? Remember, this goes back to the beginning of the stream. What is the business main point in staying in business? More profits, more profits, more profits. Maybe they could. CGC has so much business coming in, I guarantee you they could probably shorten their profits, not demand, shorten their profits, meaning they could take a little off top and invest it back into resources to basically help allocate those resources to quench turnaround time and all that demand. But what business wants to do that? They don't want to lose money. They don't want to spend money to make money. Essentially, if they did that, I do believe they would still make more money in the long term. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, we want to be able to do this in the most productive way for our bottom line, for our profit margin. How do we do that? Well, let's bring in some investors. If we bring in investors that already have the capital, that already have the resources, we don't have to take any hit. We can sit back, kick our legs up, and watch it flow. And that's what they did. So what have we established? They knew that more resources were coming in because they went for it. They said, we're going to get bought out. Yes, profits, money in the bank. We're going to raise prices because we sat and ran the data. We ran the algorithms. We know that we're not at market equilibrium. We can raise prices while not even hurting demand. And quite honestly, demand's going to keep increasing because it did. Does any of this point to having to do anything with shorting demand? Absolutely not. They're doing the complete opposite, folks. The complete opposite. Now, I'm going to throw even more evidence out there to why this is what they're thinking. They are not for the slightest thinking about slowing demand. You got get the popcorn yet? Got the popcorn yet? Vinny! Clayton, what's going on? I'm going to give you guys more evidence. Pay attention. Listen. Remember when they did the first price increase? Right around the time they announced the Blackstone buyout. Remember that? Did anybody read any of the public statements from CGC? What do those public statements say? Now, of course, I don't remember them verbatim, word for word. What did those public statements talk about? Quality, service, right? They spread the honey on the bread, on the toast. Because it's basically a PR move, guys. Everything that we established speaks to them wanting to do what? They are so cocky that they are not only raising prices and teaming up with Blackstone to bring in resources. They want to raise, they are so confident that they can keep increasing demand. And how do you do that? You spread the honey on the toast. CGC is proud to announce that we have partnered with Blackstone, which is going to bring in, we're going to add 70 more people. We were opening a new facility. We're focusing on quality control. We're doing this to get turnaround times down, right? Do you know what that did? Discovery Babe, what's going on? Do you know what that did? Mighty Comments, what's going on? Jeffrey, what's going on? You know what that did? Oh, man. It's all good. $2 more. Blackstone, Jay-Z. No, I just throw that out there. But oh man, more employees, new facility. Oh man, I was just gonna send in 10 books. Nah, I'm gonna send in 30 books. Yeah, CGC. Come on, people. They're freaking selling you. It never stopped. They're selling you a product and they want more. They raised their prices. They got bought out and they came and told you that they were doing this, and this because it's doing the same thing as that used car salesman on that commercial. Hi, I'm Bill from Nissan Auto Mall. Come down. They're selling you, folks. Now, are they lying? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about their intent and what they're doing. They want more money. They want more money because they think they can by raising the prices. They want more money because they think that partnering up with Blackstone is going to get them more resources. And they want more money because they're still selling you to increase demand. All right, so now where are we? Now we're in the last half of 2021. They've raised their prices. They've been, Blackstone is settled. We're good. What happens? Demand continues to increase. Now, keep in mind, around this time, certain, within the comic book market, some prices started to kind of dip, some money started coming out, some money started shifting. And this is what I want, side note, folks, for all those people on YouTube or in the forums talking about the comic book market is crashing. It's here, guys. I told you so. Guess what? A lot of books are still hitting record highs right now. Not just like a stock index, not everything flows in the same way. Okay. But anyways, that was a side note. So here we are in the latter half of 2021. Certain books may be cooling off and whatever, but guess what? People are still sending their books to CGC. More and more. Demand continues to increase. By this time, by the end of 2021, wait time isn't dwindling. They're not combating it. Okay, so what happened? So now the collectors are saying they raised prices, they hire more people, they open a new facility, and they got bought out by Blackstone. What gives? Because we see no change. And then what did they do? Remember what they did? I did a video on it. Oh my God, what did it say? I wish I could bring it up right now. Remember what they did? Caught up! Remember that? That was freaking hilarious. Remember that? That's what it said, right? Caught up? I'm sorry. I'm being over animated right now, but Charles, what's going on, Charles? Remember when they said that they were caught up? And remember I did a video on it and I'm like, what does this even mean? It seemed very cryptic for one. What does that even mean? So what are they doing again, folks? They're selling you. Why? Because they don't want you. They don't want that demand slowing down. If they felt that people were pulling their books and going to CBCS or EGS or anywhere else, God, I hope not. They're like, no, come back. Our wait times maybe 13. I know when we increased the price, a few months back, wait time was like 9 months. I know it's 13 months now, but come back. We need you. Guys, we're caught up. Please. They're selling you. Because they want to continue to increase demand. Okay. I might have to hit my inhaler in a minute here again. And here we are. Popping champagne bottles. 2021 was a crazy year. Second year in COVID. ups and downs, new variants, schools getting shut down, so much going on in the world. And then the comic book market, ups and downs, crazy highs, great movies, a lot of spec. Marvel started with Disney. So much happened in 2021. We're popping bottles. Uncertainty of the future, optimism. But we're ready. We're ready. And that ball drop. 2022. Popcorn, popcorn. Right? We wake up the next day with a hangover. Hopefully it was only a hangover and nothing more. Hopefully you guys had designated drivers and all that. Right? And then shortly after, we look at our phone. Boom! I'm in bed dying of COVID. Boom! CGC raises prices again. I'm in bed dying of COVID. It's like, it's been a week. It's been a week of me with COVID. I'm not getting better. And I'm sitting there feeling like an alien has possessed me. I have these ice cold chills and I'm thinking I need to go to the doctor. Do I have pneumonia? I'm still coughing. And by this point, I couldn't even open my laptop. It took so much. I remember the first time I opened my laptop after catching COVID. I mean, it was on my bed and I'm laying there and I didn't open it for days. Finally, I got the energy to open up my laptop and record a screenshot video where, you don't see me and you just see the screen grab, and I was showing CGC's announcement. And you guys don't know, but I edited that video because I was coughing all throughout it. And I had to edit out all my coughing. It's hilarious, right? Yeah. I had a lot of chicken broth with garlic, Joseph. But I did this video. It was the first video I did since being sick. And then I didn't do another video for another week. I was like, oh my God, why did I even do that? I was dying afterwards. I did this video and here we are again. And then this is where the conversation really started about. They're trying to slow demand. So for those that have been with me on this train this whole time guys, for those that just joined, I have been painting a picture of, I've been role-playing CGC executives, and I've been basically painting a picture of the last 2 to 3 years about where CGC's at in their decision-making. I've been adding in data, some facts, a little bit of my personal opinion and hypothesis on how all these things happen. And right now we're in 2022. And if you're just joining, please, when this gets on replay, go watch it and get all the context. But so here we are in 2022, and CGC is raising their prices again. Now, remember what the point of this stream and my argument here is. I'm here to convince you all that CGC isn't raising their prices to slow demand. And I finally want to acknowledge Jeremy. Well, I did acknowledge him. But Jeremy brought up some variables that are unavoidable by every single business entity that has expenses, overhead, that pays taxes. He talked about inflation, cost of goods. He talked about regulatory laws. All right, fees and taxes and all those lovely things, right? We saw the highest inflation rate in years, close to 7%. Now, keep in mind, not to get down this road, but quick side note, don't get into the politics of the inflation, like, the Democrats and Republicans. I'm not taking sides here. They all manipulate data and numbers and opinions and stuff on their own biases, right? don't get caught up in the politics of the inflation. I know it's not good, but it's not as bad as it seems. And I'll just say that. Even though the percentage is high, there's a lot of other variables that have slightly countered it, but it's still pretty bad. Don't get me wrong. This inflation right now is pretty bad. But one good thing, and I know a lot of people may disagree in this for a whole nother conversation though, but I could have a whole debate on this. Minimum wage increasing counters it. And for those that say, oh, well, minimum wage is bad because it just brings more cost. Well, it's not that black and white, folks. And I know for a fact that, when minimum wage goes up, it basically has a ripple effect in the market, because those other tiers, those other industries and careers that pay higher tiers, they adjust for inflation as well, and competitive wages. So like in California, minimum wage just went up to $15 an hour. Competitive wages rose too. I mean, just a couple years ago, I had para positions at my school that started at $14 an hour. And that was above minimum wage. You think they're starting at $14 an hour now? No, because minimum wage is higher, right? So let me not get down this road here. Let me just say that, going back to Jeremy's point, all of these things are indeed affecting cost. Maybe CGC is raising their cost again simply because since the last time they raised them, which wasn't even a year ago, inflation has taken a toll. Can you think about that? Huh? Now, unfortunately, when you look at inflation and regulations and taxes as variables that raise cost, sometimes they unintentionally affect demand. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this second price hike right now isn't affecting demand. I'm going to tell you that straight up. But hypothetically, if it did, even if the second price increase affected demand, it wasn't intentional. Does that make sense? So I'm making a hypothetical statement to still even prove why this argument is wrong, why this argument of them doing it on purpose to slow demand is wrong. If for some reason the second price increase slowly or affects and slows demand to the slightest, it's not intentional. And it's because of inflation and all these other things that Jeremy brought up. But we're getting to the grand finale here, folks. Let me explain again why it's not intentional. And I'm going to go back to what I just covered, folks. When they increased their price the first time less than a year ago, demand continued to increase. Even while certain prices of books on the secondary market decreased. Let me give you an example. Eternals number one. Eternals number one took a pretty big hit in 9.8s, after the movie released. But it increased in sales. Meaning, in terms of units sold, more people were buying it. So, maybe the book itself was a bit overpriced, an over market equilibrium and sense of supply and demand on the market. FOMO will do that to you. All this speculation and movie hype will do that to a book. But demand in terms of units sold actually went up. But you know what also went up? Supply. And that's why demand couldn't keep up, and that's why the prices dropped. Demand went up. So, you're sitting right here. FOMO happened. We knew the movie was coming out. Demand shot up, and here's supply. The price peaked. But then people were like, oh, I need to say, look at this. I need to send it off. I need to send my Eternals 9.8 off to CGC. And this started happening. And it leveled out. And then supply started dwarfing demand. So it dropped the price. But then demand, well, shoot, I like that price a lot better. I want that book now. I saw the movie. I loved it. But then supply kept going up. But then demand kept going up. But then supply kept going up. But then demand kept going up. This is why we can't look at the secondary comic book market as black and white to measure the CGC market. What does this one scenario mean for CGC? It doesn't matter what a book sells for on the secondary market. CGC was making more money off of Eternals when the book dropped 40%. Because more and more people were still sending their book into CGC and more people were buying it. Now, of course, how that's going to pan, I'm sure the submissions to CGC of that one book will fan out, but I'm giving you an example. CGC doesn't care that the secondary market of comics does this. They really don't. And I said this in my video yesterday. Do you know how much it would take for anything on the secondary market to affect CGC? It would take literally a cataclysmic global catastrophe. Because not only are there millions and millions of comic books out there right now in the wild, in people's collections, in LCS stores, in warehouses, not only are there multi-million comics out there from 2021 all the way back to the 1930s, if we're talking superheroes, and then even before that. Not only that, though, there's probably over 1,000 comic books released every month. Every month. There's hundreds released every week. And I could probably guarantee that there's over 1,000 new titles every month. With that 1,000 new titles, there's 40,000, 50,000, 80,000 print runs. Times 50,000 by over 1,000 every single month of new books hitting the market. And we know, you guys have said it in the comments, how many people go and buy 20 copies of some rando new book just to send to CGC. Guys, there is enough supply of comic books out there to keep CGC going for over 1,000 years. So, what does this mean? It would literally, like I said, it would take I have concerns with oversaturating of the market when it comes to graded books. But the only concern is with 9.8s. That's it. That's my only concern. And I'm not saying that if that happened, it wouldn't affect CGC at all, but I'm telling you, it would be so minuscule. It would be a dent in a tank. And that's a whole other conversation, guys. The whole 9.8 saturation of the market. I might have to end this live stream and start another one right after and talk about that. But no, that's for another day. Let me make my closing arguments, guys, and then I'll read some. You know what's funny? I didn't even read comments from the video, but I didn't have to. I like how this stream worked out. Let me get a little more water. And I think I got my point across, but let me gather my closing arguments, guys. And look, I do encourage you all to go back to yesterday's video, read through some of the comments and my responses. Obviously, I encourage you to watch the video if you haven't watched it yet. Here's my closing arguments. Oh, it's cool. What's going on? Architectural says there's not going to be a primary market. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, the primary market is healthier than it's been since 1992. And it's managed in such a way that the crash of the early 90s will never happen again. I'm not saying negative things can't happen, but again, that's a whole nother conversation. Thank you, Lee. Here's my closing arguments. I do agree that if CGC doesn't take their increasing profits and revenue and their resources to put to combating turnaround time and quality control, this is going to backfire on them and it's going to be a problem. I agree with that 100%, and I've been saying that. I've been saying that with CGC for over 2 years. If CGC doesn't start showing improving, it is going to be a problem, and it's going to dwarf demand. Now, I've said this before too. I know for a fact that those issues have already lost them customers. I know for a fact that more people are sending books into CBCS and EGS. And hopefully only those two. Anyways. But the amount of people that are shifting their business to those other grading companies, there's even more people bringing their business back to CGC. Okay? So that's not even making a dent right now. You know, it's just like saying, oh, I'm tired of Apple, I'm going to Android. Okay. If 1.5 dozen whatever people switch from Apple to Android, is Apple going to be like, oh my God, we're losing demand? No. They're like, okay, good luck. Healthy competition. We're going to keep making our billions, right? Even though some people may already have a disdain with CGC, even though some people may have been CGC members. Like, my biggest thing with CGC is them eliminating the 10% membership. That's BS. But do you think they did that to make people leave? And that's the point of the argument, guys. No, they are not. CGC, to this day, right now, in real time, as I'm sitting here yelling at my computer screen, as you guys are so, humbly sitting here and tuning in, hopefully eating some popcorn, why we are doing this in real time. CGC is only caring about simultaneously increasing demand and increasing profit. And I'm going to go back to Blackstone one more time. Yeah, CBCS's turnaround times. Gene, welcome, Gene. They're bad too. CBCS's turnaround times, they're bad too. EGS's aren't. I'll tell you that much. Link below. Let's go back to Blackstone one more time. A company that would want to slow demand would not have signed that agreement, that buyout with Blackstone. And let me tell you why. And I said this to a couple people in the comments. Blackstone is a publicly traded company. I have stock in Blackstone. Not too much, just a little bit. If CGC was purposely trying to slow demand, that's not going to help. That's not going to help their IP at all. Why? I, as an investor, I, as a $600+ billion investor. Why would I go to a company who I look at and see so much potential of growth? They're king. I mean, they're Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson figureheads of the grading industry. There's a perceived monopoly, and I'm coming to them and I'm saying, do I want to invest millions and millions of dollars and give them a stake of my $600 billion net worth? If they're just going to say, we can't handle the demand, so let's raise the prices a couple dollars to turn people away. Absolutely not. Period. CGC is not in the position of that local shop that has very finite resources. It's just a mom and pop shop that can't keep up with demand. Remember, talked about that early on in the stream. CGC right now and CCG have all the resources in the world. And they know this. And they are raising their prices because they know they can. And secondly, because I'm optimistic, I hope that they know that by doing this, they are going to take some of that money and put it into allocating more resources to make sure that they understand their customer base and that they know and make sure that this growth in demand that's happening right now continues to happen. And by doing that, they need to make sure that they're focusing on turnaround time and quality control and all of those things. Guys, yeah, I know, no, Miguel, it's not a monopoly at all. That's a fallacy. It's not a monopoly. It's not even an oligarchy, but more close to it, yes. But folks, that's my stream today. Empire. Yeah, I know what they're doing with the rental market. Yeah. I'll hang around for a few minutes, guys. If you got some comments or questions, I would love to spend a few minutes reading them. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. It's been definitely fun. Again, guys, if you aren't subscribing, you've been hanging out for the first time, please subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of you. I make content almost every single day. I'm very interactive with my viewership. I love you all. This is a two-way street, two-way community. Even though I'm here talking in front of a screen to you guys, I read all your guys' comments. Like I said, I'm involved. I do have a Patreon. If you guys want to support the channel for only $3.99 a month to get a few extra perks. I also have the YouTube membership that's only $1.99 a month. I am doing a end of year giveaway that I'm going to be doing by the end of this month. I actually picked out my books. I think they're up there though. I have some exclusive variants and stuff that I'm going to be giving away for my patrons and my YouTube channel members. And as long as you're signed up before I run the giveaway, you'll be entered into that. Check out my Instagram if you're not following me there. And of course, whatnot, guys. I will be live this Friday. Let's see if there's some questions. Yeah, STE says, you guys haven't seen price increases yet. Just wait. Hardman Sports Cards. PSA now has to go through estimated 50,000 cards and find out who belongs to what. I couldn't imagine being these grading companies, guys. Thanks, Remy. You too, man. Architectural. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Pedro. Thank you for being here. Vinny. Depending on how hard a recession hits, it may level the playing field for a lot of companies. Yeah, recessions do things. But Vinny, when we go back to the argument at hand, the argument is, why did CGC raise their prices? Was it to slow demand? And I hope I spent this last hour and 25 minutes making it very clear that no, it was not. But yeah, there's a lot of worry right now out there with the state of the market, stock market, and everything, man, everything. J Salsa, do you think if CBCS were to change their label, they'd get closer to CGC? The knock on them is the labels. I like the white behind the gray number because it does make it pop. But quite honestly, I think I like CGC's label better overall. If CBCS's, if CBCS, excuse me, guys. Man, if CBCS's label was this exact same, but it had a white sticker for the grade, I'd take CBCS's label hands down. Hands down. Literacy will prevail. That's a fact. Fat Dad, thank you so much. Jason, thank you. Lee says, hey, Chris, another topic now that you finished your Thor run. What are you working on? I'm working on all my other legacy runs, always trying to get my ASM, but I'm at the low silver age now. I'm going to work a lot this year on Bronze Age DC runs, or legacy runs, Bronze, Copper Age. So like Brave and the Bold, of course Batman and my Superman titles, Wonder Woman. I got solid, but I got solid like early 90s down through the Bronze Age of Superman, Action, and Wonder Woman. But just a lot of DC titles for sure. My Doctor Strange Volume 2, I want to work on finishing that one as well. A couple of those that I don't have blown up though, for sure. Nate, CBCS has a proven better product, so why is CGC the go-to company? Okay, Nate, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I do want to get going, but let me break it down. Grading companies offer a service and a product. The service is basically the grade. Okay? The grade is more of a service. The product is the physical casing, the label, and the aesthetics of it. You cannot say that CBCS has a better product. You can't. I can't. I can't say CGC has a better product because the better product is subjective. It's based on personal opinion. It's just like Whataburger or In-N-Out. What's the better product? What's the better burger? People are going to fight and argue. It's just like art or movies. Nirvana or Pearl Jam. Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland. It's subjective. People like CGC's product because maybe they like the labels better. Maybe they like the cases better. People like CBCS's better because they like the cases or the labels better. Some people like EGS's product better because they have custom labels and nobody else offers that. Now, the service that they pair with the product is where I think answers your question, Nate. People have a conception in their head, whether it's a misconception or if it lies in fact, I can't tell you. But people have it conceived that the service that correlates to the product that CGC does is superior. They think that grade and the case and the label and all of its components working together are superior. And the reason why I think that is simply because they're the ones that started it. Unfortunately, that's what I think it boils down to. And everyone else is playing catch up. And they're not just playing catch up in the physical product. Like, okay, I need to make my cases better. I need to make my labels better, because there was a point in time where CGC's cases and labels were garbage. They're not just playing catch up there, but they're playing catch up in terms of perception. We have to catch up in our heads in how we perceive CGC. And it's like a chicken or the egg dilemma. A lot of people look at CBCS and say, they probably wouldn't tell you publicly, but they're saying in their head, man, I really like that CGC case. I really like that, I really like that CBCS case and that CBCS label. Ooh, that's clean. And you know what? I don't know about you, but I really think that CBCS's grading is actually more accurate. But then they go, turn around and send all their books to CGC. Why? Because they only care about secondary market perception. And it's unfortunate. But guys, the power is in us. I told you all, 2022 is the year for me. It's the year of the educated collector. I'm spending this year repeating myself and bringing to you guys so many topics of discussion to encourage that we combat FOMO. And I always say there could be a healthy amount of FOMO, but we combat FOMO and we educate ourselves. I think my next stream is going to lean to that. I'm going to be not calling out, but I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on how to be smart on the Whatnot app and in live auctions. I think that's going to be my next stream next week. Tony's man himself says perception is killer. That's absolutely true. So, yep, and like Vinny says about the premium that the price commands. Yep. We have the power. We have the power to affect the market more than you guys know. And all we have to do, the more people are smart and educated, the more control we're going to have. So, folks, on that note, I am going to end the stream. I'm pretty exhausted. I got some work to do. I call it homework, but it's schoolwork. I got lessons to do for my students. I'm starving, but I truly appreciated spending this hour and a half with you guys on a Tuesday afternoon. Look out for that next live stream. And look out for Friday's Whatnot sale, folks. I'm telling you. I want to reiterate one more time before I go. I got stacks and stacks here, guys. I got like 2 long boxes almost of stuff. I got a lot of Bronze Age stuff. Got some Tomb of Dracula. A lot of Spider-Man stuff. Definitely got some keys. I don't know if there's any huge keys this time around. Somebody just bought my first cameo appearance of Taskmaster, Avengers 95. But, I got a lot of stuff, and I want to remind you guys, there's a link below. If you haven't signed up for the Whatnot app, link is below. If you sign up using that link, you can get 10% off your first purchase from anybody on the Whatnot app. You can buy from anybody. Follow me at Journos Comics, no underscore. And there's tons of books right now that you can buy before the live sale on Friday at a buy it now price that allows you to get it for a fair deal before it goes to auction. And again, I price my books. My guarantee on price is that it is lower than the top online dealers like My Comic Shop. And I always say this, I buy from My Comic Shop all the time, and they price their books very fairly. So let's take this book, for example. Marvel Tales number 96, This is a VG Fine 5. I don't know if you guys can see that. VGF 5.0. I'm very solid in my grading and I'm conservative. I have this priced at $3. So you could go and buy this book right now in a VG Fine, and all that details are stated in the app, in the listing, for $3. This price is cheaper than my comic shop and of course Mile High, because most of their prices are outrageous. That's my guarantee, and I want to build that as my brand. You know, like the guarantee of being able to buy the books at that grade at a lower price than these online dealers. So that's just one example. But I really hope to see you guys on the Whatnot live sale on Friday. We sit, we have fun. We have Comic Book Canon, a special Comic Book Canon show this Saturday evening because Sunday, my 49ers are in the NFC Championship game. So we were going to have a Sunday. That's not happening. Friday's Whatnot, Saturday's Comic Book Canon, and then next week, I don't know what day yet, we are going live with another Journos Live where we're going to be talking about how to be smart when you're buying and bidding in Whatnot live sales, IG live sales, and all of that. So again, thank you guys so much. Lee, Charles, Tony, OOP. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about Mile High, but thank you guys again so much. Be well, be safe out there. Go check out some of my recent videos if you haven't yet. Be well, and until next time.